Okay, so let's just turn the camera around. Hi, I've come on a bit early, just ahead of my online class, just to make sure that it's working really, because it was playing up again. I have let people know that I'm on early, so you know, as people join, then I'll be able to sort of crack on with stuff. Okay, ignore the mess behind me. That is my, well, some of it's my husband's mess, some of it is actually my mess. I've got a big job to do sorting out my craft room and trying to get it tidy again. Not my favourite job, so anyway, tonight's card class online is using the Painted Lavender suite. Beautiful suite. I will find it in the catalogue in a moment, so for anyone that hasn't seen it, it's got really beautiful papers in it. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, rather than me talking, I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you what you would get in the kit if you were to order the online kit. It's exactly the same. Well, it's not exactly the same. It's the same basis as the in-person kit, but you would get a load of die cuts instead of the, obviously, the stamped images. So let me just turn the camera around and hopefully move it down. Right, so this is actually the kit that you would get face to face, in person. So the one that's on that people have received through the post has got lots of die cut bits, just so that they can replace the stamps. This is just some 4x6, I think it's 4x6 pieces of some of the celebration papers. It's definitely 4, yeah, 4x6 pieces. There's some of the lovely birds that I've been using. There's some of the nuts and bolts and screwdrivers. Those could be fussy cut, you know, out of the trusty tool. Can't remember what the actual celebration papers are called, but it coordinates with the trusty toolkit. And then this is the softly stippled, and each kit's got approximately 12 different pieces. So that's one of the things that you would get in there that you don't actually need for this. So I'm just going to pop those back in to the bag. Then to make the actual kit up, there's a piece of crumb cake. It's just a scrap of crumb cake for one sentiment to be stamped on. And then you've got a little bag, and that's got in there half a pack of the lovely gems. This is less than half a pack, the other bits are cut up, but because of the way they are stuck onto the sheets, I've had to sort of cut them into strips. There's also a couple of sheets of the butterflies, and there is some linen thread. So that's that bit. You get plenty of those, so there'll be lots left over. And then this is half a pack of the designer series paper. It's cut for postage reasons, really, to keep the cost down. into 6" by 12" pieces, so you get 2 of each rather than me sending out 12" square pieces of paper. And then there's some cardstock, 6 sheets of cardstock in Shaded Spruce, Lost Lagoon, Berry Burst, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, and that one is Fresh Freesia, and a couple of sheets of white cardstock. You will have plenty of cardstock left over after the free cards in order to be able to make other cards at home. And then this is just a very simple cutting sheet for each card. I've put down the cardstock colours I've used, but obviously, you know, you would be able to change that around to suit. So just quickly, these are the cards, and they go up in order of sort of difficulty, I suppose. Okay, so the first card I'm going to be making, see, if you are watching, then I have got a second screen up, so do put some comments in the box, and I will check them every now and again. Okay, so this is my original, apart from this bit because I kept a bit more, this is my original pack that I basically gave myself a pack and made 3 cards, and then this is everything that I had left over, so you get quite a lot to be able to play with. So the first one, this one is actually done in Gorgeous Grape, but I have used all of my Gorgeous Grape, and I'm just wondering whether what I will do is actually just get another, actually there's a Gorgeous Grape card base, just like that. So this is just a standard card base, which is 8 inches by 5 3/4, scored at 4 inches, and that equates to, in centimetres, 20.3 by 14.6, and scored at 10.2. So it's just a standard card base that will fit in a standard C6 envelope. Okay, so I'm going to just pop that out the way. I need to bring my trimmer up because I've not pre-cut everything as this is an online class. Okay, so the next layer is this. That's the one side. It's got little butterflies on as well, which is really pretty. But I wanted to use this mottledy effect. I don't know how to describe it really, but it's a mottledy effect just to give a bit of texture. And that one is going to be cut at 5.5 inches by 3 3/4. I'll turn it round that way. Those measurements in centimetres are 9.6 by 14. So that's this layer. And then we've got a slightly smaller layer, which I am going to have to find another piece of card. Bear with me. Okay, so this smaller gorgeous grape is 2 3/4 inches by 4.5. So 2 3/4. Every time I do this, it looks wrong, but it isn't. It just looks too narrow. By 4.5. And if you're working in centimetres, that is 7 by 11.5. And now you can use any piece of your patterned paper for this bit. I'm gonna. I don't think that's going to be long enough, so I need to just cut another piece. And that. Right, okay, so this measures 2.5 inches by 4 1/4, or 6.4 centimetres by 10.8. Okay, so that's that bit, and then you want a, let me just get my white sheet. You want a card layer for the inside, which again is how long is that? Let me just measure. I want to make sure I get the most out of each layer. So it's 3 3/4 by 5.5, which again is 9.6 by 14 centimetres. And that will go in the middle. Move that out of the way. Now, I've used the hexagonal punch to do this one, and that greeting is actually from the Irresistible Blooms. But obviously, you know, the heartfelt hellos come with the punch, and is a, you know, quite nice saying. So you could make an Easter card, Mother's Day, Father's Day, just a hello. I think I'm going to use use the hello one for this one. And I'm going to be stamping in shaded spruce. And then we've got punch. So I just want a piece of scrap white, just to do this one on. Put that out of the way. Okay, so now that I've got that, I can build the card out. I think I did some, what did I do? Oh yeah, some butterflies inside. in the gorgeous grape. So let's just I've got so much stuff around. I've lost the stamp set. So as you can see, you've got a little it's got two little butterflies on it. They're quite sweet. It's just, you know, just something to give a little bit of a pattern inside. So that's that bit of stamping, that's that bit. And then we want one of our butterflies. Just find one. Now this one I have literally just done in gorgeous grape, and I've done it in used a blending brush, and obviously around the edges there's more pressure been put, so it's darker, and then I've just lifted the pressure off in the middle. You can also use, see, bits of sponge daubers if you've got those. Just give it okay, so you can see the ombre effect on the butterfly. Pop that one out the way and move the brush. Okay, so first I'm going to stick the white layer inside. It's got an 1/8 of an inch border all the way round. Let's put all of my cards. And then these are just simply layered I'm going to put this one on to the smaller mat first and then layer that onto the bigger one. Now I always do this by eye, but some people will want to measure it. I'm not quite that fussed on it being exact. Okay, so what you could also do if you wanted to take the white and soften it a bit is just use the blending brush and just dab it round, or a sponge dauber, but I'm leaving this as it is. Put a couple of dimensionals on. And then this little butterfly is very delicate, but if you can just use a bone folder or your nails or something, but just curl up so you can see it's slightly raised, and then it only needs a couple of little dots of blue on the body. And then a bit of bling just to finish it off. Now these are, as you can see, there's the Berry Burst, the pinky one, you've got Gorgeous Grape, and you've got Highland Heather. So I'm going to put one there. My putty's gone a bit mad. Must be the warmth, I think. And then just a couple on the body of the butterfly. Okay, so that's the first card. Really straightforward. And we don't want to dive straight in with a complicated card. Just warm up a bit first of all. Okay, so pop those out the way. Now the second card is a bit more, there's a bit more to it. There's some stamping, there's some fussy cutting, there's die cuts, and there's a bow, and then there's this really cute stamp in the middle. And when I was doing this, I got a smudge. I must have had a bit of ink on my fingers, and so I decided to stick a couple of brass butterflies in there just to sort of cover that up. Okay, so again we need a card base. This one is in Berry Burst. Again, a standard card base, which is, bear with me, I need to just make sure I can get that through. Again, 8 inches, 20.3 centimetres by 5 3/4, which is 14.6. Now these bits, not so much these thinner ones, but these ones I do keep, and then occasionally I use them just to make cards with. Pop the cutting blade out the way, and I'm going to score this in the middle at 4 inches or 10.2 centimetres. So that's our card base. And then we have a layer of Gorgeous Grape. So this one is going to be 5.5 inches long by 3 3/4, which is 14 centimetres by 9.6. And then you want to pick one of your designer series papers, and just making sure that you are aware of the direction of the pattern, just so that, you know, obviously it's it goes in the right direction. I'm just trying to find the right piece amongst everything I've got already cut up. Let's see if I can find. So it's this. This is the one that I've used. So it looks as though I can't find the other piece. So I'm going to use a different one, and that's fine. I'm going to use one of these, make it slightly different. So again, you want to make sure that you've got the direction of the print the right way. And this one's going to be a 3.5 by 5 1/4. So if I cut the 5 1/4 first, and then 3.5. So it's going to look a bit different, but not hugely. Okay, so that's those layers. Now, I've already pre-cut and lost my my vellum layer. It's got to be here somewhere. I just realised that it was there, and now I've moved everything. The vellum layer, there it is. The vellum layer is cut from the Perennial postage dies. So these are the postage dies. But I didn't want it as big as this. So I cut one out, and then by lining it up on the other side, I just cut it down again. So like if I wanted it smaller, I'd line it up. I used a bit of washi tape, lined it up, and put it through the Big Shot, the cut and emboss machine, and just made it the size that I wanted it. So that's a really good way of obviously getting more sizes out of your dies. Okay, so that's those. We want a white layer for inside. And again, that is just a normal 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. That will just go in as normal. Okay, can put that down. Just going to move a couple of bits out the way so I can do the stamping now. Okay, so these stamps here, you've got this one. As you can see, it's very pink where I've been using it. It is clean, it just stains when you use the reds and the purples and things, but it's quite easy. And then we've got the stems. I'll just put these on blocks so that we've got them all ready. And the sentiments out of the other one, so but I just need these as well. That's for the sentiment. And then we've got okay, so this is like, I don't know if you can see this very well. It's like a line of, if I show you on here, it's like a line of grassy bits and lavender bits. But I sort of stamped this in green, and then I use this one to go over it and add the colour. Put that on straight-ish. Okay, so you can see I've used Gorgeous Grape and Berry Burst, and I've just alternated them along. So we'll get the sentiment while we're at it as well. Now, this Perennial postage is stamp set, obviously goes with the dies, but you can use them, you know, they will fit in other, like they'll fit in the hexagon punch, like that one will as well. That one possibly, and that one will, and obviously this one. These ones are that much longer, so you know, but they're easy enough to cut out. So I am going to use Here For You Always, which I think is quite a nice saying when you're just sending a card to somebody, friend or whoever, really, when they're having, you know, sometimes people have a bit of a rough time, and just letting them know that somebody's there willing to listen is a nice thing to do. Let me find, right, again I'm just using some scrap for the lavender, and I'm going to do one in Gorgeous Grape. Then, didn't want to do that, but never mind. Just bear with me, I just need to clean it off because I'm going to go into a different colour. I don't want to put Gorgeous Grape onto my nice Berry Burst. Now you could use a stamping mat underneath these, just to give it a bit of sponge, you know, a bit of give. But these ones do stamp perfectly fine. I just want some more scraps of white. Okay. The stems, I have just used Lost Lagoon for this one. I didn't want them too dark. We'll get all the stamping done, and then these bits will be cut out. But I want to just get all the ink out of the way. And again, this one is just in Lost Lagoon, and it's just going along the bottom. And then I'm not sure, I do this up this way. The actual picture on the box makes it look as though it goes up the other way, but I don't know. I don't think it matters. So I'm just going to go leave what looks like enough of a gap. That's all I need on that one. And then give it a clean. And then berry burst in between. So that's the inside layer. And then we just need a strip of this, and I've done my sentiment in berry burst. And then I'm just going to fussy cut that out slightly. As you can see, it's not dead straight, it's just cut around. So let's move that ink out the way. And so yeah, so with this, I mean, it's quite simple. You might want to cut less, have less card to cut around in the first place, but it's fine. And you don't have to be too fussy on what you're literally fussy cutting, but you don't have to be too fussy on how far the scissors go away from the ink. Yeah, because when it's on there, it doesn't make a lot of difference. It just looks nice. It's a different way of handling a sentiment, really. It doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be done with a die or a punch. Okay, right, now I've got my little machine. I had to get a new handle for this because I've obviously used it far too many times and the handle broke on me. So yeah, so I had to get a new handle. I do use this one a lot. I am trying to use my bigger one more, but it just makes it a bit awkward under the camera for the big one. Right, so where these are, where I'm using stamps, the postal kits for the online have got some die cuts in, or you can use your own stamps if you've got something lavendery or some other sort of flower that would go. So that's that one. there's the purple one. Oops. Pop that over there. Just need to cut round this because of using the small machine. Now this one I find a little bit trickier to line up, so I'm just going to take a minute just to try and get it as straight as I can. So okay, so it's not perfect, but it's fine. That one can go underneath. And I think that's better. Pop that out the way. Look, that one's much better, so I obviously lined it up better the second time than I did the first. Right, okay, so these bits are just going to have a small blob of glue on, so that the stems can just sit on top. Okay, I guess you could put it behind, but I think they are actually designed to sit on top. Okay, so that's those two. I'll bring this back in so you can see what I've then done is layered these together. See, and then you can see that bottom stem, you're not seeing the bit that wasn't so great. Let's just pop a bit of glue there. There's always ways of covering up slight errors. Okay, now I don't know if you can see the bow. It's linen thread, and it is a double bow, and that's we had some fun with that today, because trying to get the bow tied. The way I do it is literally I have quite a long piece of the linen thread that I cut in half. So you've got 2 strands, and then I just tie a bow in it. But I think it's not always that easy to tie bows. Maybe, I don't know. And then just sort of play with it until you're happy with the size of the bow and the size of the trailing bits. So that's fine. At the end of the day, it's handmade, isn't it? So it doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, if you wanted spot on perfect, you'd go and just buy a printed card. I'm just using a tiny glue dot just to sort of stick that on there. At first when I was playing with this and designing it, I did wrap some of this around, but it was a bit fiddly, and I thought you don't need it, so it's better like this. Okay, so we've got all the bits now of the card. So I'm going to stick this bit on the inside. Okay, and then I'm going to layer these up. So I'll put this one on. Isn't that gorgeous? It's that gorgeous grape. It's a bit like the mottledy green that we used on this one, but oh, I really do love these colours. They're all really gorgeous designs. I was talking to one of the ladies this morning, saying about how you know, they're so pretty you don't want to cut them up, but yeah, the whole point is to make pretty cards and yeah, cut them up and use them and show other people how pretty they are. Okay, so this vellum, rather than, I'm not going to stick it on there yet, because you've got to be careful where you're putting glue. You don't want it to leave like glue marks and stuff. So first of all, what I'm going to do is just stick this onto the vellum. Okay, now it's not stuck completely down, so you get a bit of movement to it. And then I'm just going to use some glue on the bits that I've stuck down. And again, just centre it roughly as much as possible. Okay, so it does look, I mean, it looks, even though it's very similar, the difference in the background colour does make it look completely different. And then we've got our little sentiment, and we're just going to use some mini dimensionals just to lift it off. Okay. I don't want it to stick any of that down, so okay, so that's that. And then we want a bit of bling, and I've lost, do you know, I'm useless at finding things. I keep losing this. No matter where I put it, it disappears. So we've got the berry burst and the gorgeous grape in this, so I'm going to use some of the berry burst a berry burst and a gorgeous grape gem up there, and another, ooh, I didn't want that there, I wanted that down there. Okay, so that's a different version, but still very similar to the one that I made originally. Okay. So that's number 2. Okay, so for number 3, for the fancy fold, this is another version of a double Z fold card. I did some at Christmas that had a thinner strip along the bottom, so it's just another take on a similar type of card, but this has got quite a lot of cutting, and I've not pre-cut it because obviously, you know, if people are crafting along or they want to do it, follow it at the same time, it's easier if I'm then cutting for them to do it in actual time. So for this one, I'm going to use Highland Heather as a base. Now obviously this has been cut in half because I used the other half of the sheet. But it's 11.5 inches long by 4 inches deep. So that's your card base, and then you're going to score that. So that is 10 centimeters by 29.2 centimeters. Okay, so, and that is going to be scored at, just try and move this along, it's a bit awkward doing it like this, but it's going to be scored at 2 7/8. So 2 7/8, which is 7.3 centimeters, and then they use your 5 3/4 inches because we're doing a long card, and that is 14.7 centimeters. So you've got your middle fold and then halfway again. So that's the main base. And then you want a alternative colour. Doesn't matter if it's, I'm going to use Lost Lagoon, but you could use any of the colours in your pack. And this just needs to be 9 inches long by 3 inches. So I'm going to cut it at 9 inches. And then 3 inch that way. And then this piece here is scored literally at, sorry, just jogged the camera. It's going to be scored at 3 inches. And I will give you the other measurements in a moment. And 6 inches. Okay, so that is 7.6 centimetres by 22.9, and then we're scoring at 7.6 and 15.3 centimetres. Okay, and again it just folds. So that's your card bases, so we'll pop those out of the way just for a moment, because we've still got lots of cutting on here to do. Now I've used different patterns of the designer series paper. You could do it in all the same, or it's up to you, but it's quite nice using different ones. So like this one I did use, when it covers up quite a bit of it, which is a real shame, but it's still really pretty. You just need to make sure that if you're using something like this, you get the direction right. So for this layer here, you're doing a 5.5 inches long by 3 3/4 inches. Okay, so that is 14 centimetres by 9.6. Then we want 2 that are sort of half those sizes. Find some of the bits I've already cut up so that I'm not using, I don't want to use all of, I don't want to literally cut into every single sheet when I don't need to. Okay, so this is very similar to this one, and this needs to be, again, 2 and 5/8, so there's 2.5, and then up to that one, 2 and 5/8 by 3 3/4. So that's one of the end pieces. And then we'll use, I think I'm going to use some of this one. It's long enough. So again, 2 and 5/8 by 3 3/4, and I just want to cut it that way round. So that's going to be the back, the main, this one, you see, so that'll go on there like so. Okay, and then for this one you want 3 that are 2 and 3/4 inch square. So let's not lose the bits I've cut for that. And again, you can use any of the any of the bits that you've got. Two. That's 2 of them. And then I'm just going to cut this one, 2 and this one's got little, got nice little butterflies around the edge. Okay, so that's those 3, and then you want 3 pieces of white cardstock, and they are 2 1/4. Although they're 2 1/4. Sorry, I had to check what I was doing then, because I've 2 1/4 inch squared, so they're smaller. You could make them bigger, but I wanted to be able to see some of the patterned paper rather than just a small edge of it. So that's those, and that's all the cutting. Right, so let's get rid of this and bring these bits back in. So I'm going to stick mine like that. I'm going to stick these and get them out the way so I don't lose any of them. Again, I don't know whether I prefer Tombow for gluing my cards, but I know a lot of people use the Stampin' Seal. I've got one somewhere. This type of runner glue, but I don't use those as much as I do these. And then that one. Okay, so that bit can go out the way, and I know it's all stuck down. I don't want to stick the white ones on yet because I've got stamping to do on there. I'm going to stick these bits on just so that they're all together. So this has got to be, I reckon this must be the favourite. It may not be, I don't know, to be honest, but I would say from everyone that I've seen, they've all really loved this suite. It's just gorgeous. Okay, so that's those 2 bits. Right, so again for the online class, what I did was didn't punch them, I die cut out lots of bits, so there's plenty of bits for you to be able to make some flowers to go on these bits. But for the in-person and for tonight's, I'm going to do actually stamping. So again, with this one I've used Highland Heather, and the middle one has been stamped. I really don't know where I've put my stamping mats, but it doesn't matter. And I've just stamped it off so that I've got some room for the butterflies, and then I stamp those off before I stamp them, so you get a nice pale Highland Heather then. Okay, so that's one of the bits. And then for the other bit I used this stamp, so this one here. So it's a bit closer up. And again, I just, first of all, I stamped off and did a light stamp, and then I just offset that with the darker. Okay. And then the third one, I just did a sentiment on. I think I'm going to use the Happy Mother's Day out of this one, because obviously I have to make some Mother's Day cards at some point, so I may as well use this one now. And again, I'm just using the Highland Heather, so it all ties in with the back. And it doesn't have to be that. It's one of the things I love about this font and the way these are. It doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't matter that it's not straight. Yeah. Right, so that's the stamping bits, so they'll go on in a moment. And the butterflies, again, I'm going to use two butterflies, the bigger one and the smaller one. And I've also used on the body and the antennae, I've used a crumb cake, sorry, just finding the right size butterflies, crumb cake blender pen, just to blend in, doesn't blend in, just to add in that you know, because obviously this is all crumb cake, so it just adds it in. Now this one, my one that I've got here is a bit bigger, so I don't really want to find, here they are. So yeah, so these are the two that I've used on this card. Let me take these out. You can obviously blend on them and colour on them in while they're still attached, but I'll take them out because it's easier to show you. Pop those ones out the way. Now they are white on both sides, so you can colour either side depending on which way round you want it. Okay, and these ones I'm going to use, these are sponge daubers. They're great for this sort of thing, as well as the blending brushes. So, oh, sorry, I knew that would happen one day. You just put your back in. Okay. That was bound to happen at some point. Okay, so I'm just literally, this is the light crumb cake. So I'm just gonna put, I'm not gonna do the whole sort of body. I've done like a bit of a line. Don't know, can you see that? No, I think you could see that just about, and I'm going to do the same on this one. That one's a bit bigger, so it's easier to see. Okay, I'm not going to be anywhere near the camera for that. And now I've got a green, so I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon and the Highland Heather on these. So I think that one's actually Gorgeous Grape. That one's the Highland Heather. And I'm going to start, first of all, with just putting a bit of green. Bit of green in the middle. And then Highland Heather. And like with the blending brushes, you can do this as dark or as light as you want. And I might actually, I'm really worried about that's going to fall again, but I don't think it will. I'll just pop a little bit, think of the Gorgeous Grape just on the edge. That one. Highland Heather. And a bit of the Gorgeous Grape. Okay, so you could add, and I think I did on these ones, I added, but I totally forgot about that I did that. You could add some Wink of Stella once it's dry. Yeah, just dab some Wink of Stella on, just to add a bit of shine, bit of sparkle. Don't know if you can see that on there or not. Don't know whether you can. I think you can see it slightly. You don't have to put lots on, but just make sure you rub it off afterwards so you don't end up with purple permanently on there. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is glue these bits where I want them. And probably, I'm trying not to put that one out of the way. I don't want to really get on the wet. So yeah, so I'm just going to glue these 3 on. so. Now before I stick these on, I'm going to stick this together. So if you fold this up and you fold this base up, now you want to, these two bits, so it's folded like that, you want to put under this flap, and then when you work out where you want it, so it's roughly halfway, just put some glue on one half of that and press it down, and then put some glue on this, the whole of this one, because this is going to be flat against this card, and then just close it up and give it a good press down. And that's the simple way of gluing it together. Okay, so then this little butterfly is going to go on here. And again, you can, I'm only going to glue on the body, and it's going to go like that. I can really see the wink of Stella now shining, but I don't know whether you can or not in the light. And then the bigger one is just going to go on the side there. Oops. I want it so that it's just inside the card, and it still gives you enough space to be able to write. But if you wanted a bigger area to write on, you could stick a layer on the back and write there. Right, so let's find the bling. I found the empty packet. There's the bling. I'm just going to dot around a few little bits, because no card is finished without a bit of bling. Doesn't matter where you put it, but that's how I'm going to leave mine. It's just like that. It's just got a few bits of bling on it and a bit of sparkle. Can you see that sparkle now on those? Don't know if you can. Anyway, they have got sparkle on them, so it makes it look really sort of more delicate, I think. Okay, so that is the 3 cards that I was making and that we made for the card class. So we just bring in, try and get rid of some of these stamps. And the inks, so there's these ones. So they are slightly different, as you can see. Let's pop those inks out the way. So there. So that's all of the cards we're going to make tonight. But obviously, you know, you'll have plenty of kit left over, cardstock and DSP, butterflies and bling that you can add sentiments to and make more cards. I don't know whether I have made one of my other videos. I've made some other cards using this set, so mainly with designer series paper and just a sentiment. So check those out, and and have a play and enjoy using the lovely colours and the gorgeous papers. Okay, well, thanks for joining me tonight, and so if you have bought the online kit, I would really love to see what you've made. Pop some photos of your cards in the comments when you've done it, whether you're making it tonight or whether you're doing it on playing on, you know, crafting on the replay. It would be really nice to see some of the cards you've made. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.